Hello. Today I thought I could show you my eyeshadow palette collection. So eyeshadow is one of my favorite parts of my makeup routine. I have 5 palettes, not that huge for like YouTube videos on eyeshadow, but like decent for me. I enjoy it. And I thought I could show you each of them. And I also will insert looks that I've done with each of these. Usually, the majority of my eye looks, I don't use a single palette. So this past week, every day I used a different eyeshadow palette so that I could have a look that is exclusively with each of these. But I love my palettes and I enjoy like combining shades from them, creating color stories within them. So these are some of my favorite videos to watch on YouTube, so I hope you enjoy it. Alright, so I'm going to show you my palettes in the order that I got them. I had 2 palettes before all of these that I have since decluttered just because the shades weren't for me. I didn't use them often, but now my mom and sister are enjoying the 2 of them. The oldest palette that I have still in my collection is the Nomad Berlin Underground palette. So this palette I got in an Ipsy box last fall, I think in September. Here is what it looks like. I think it's more grungy than is my general preference, but I do enjoy having it just because it adds to my collection and what my other eyeshadows look like. Though I don't really love how this palette doesn't have very many matte shades, even though I think I am someone that loves shimmery eyeshadow. But the only 2 true mattes in this palette are this brown in the center and this pink shade, and then this purple here, this green, this black, like they're all satin shades, so they have like a little bit of shimmer in them, but they aren't like fully shimmer. Looking closer, I think that the green and black just are mattes with shimmer in them to make them smoother, and the purples like fully a satin, which I don't particularly love. I also think just like yellow toned shadows aren't really necessarily my thing, though I really do love that this palette has this top row here. Like I really enjoy this silver over here and this like green shimmer, and this shade right here, it looks like white in the pan-ish, but it's like a super iridescent like greenish shade. So I really enjoy that. That's on my inner corner in the look that I have here. So yeah, that is the oldest palette that I still have, which I got last September or so. And then in November, I wanted a colorful palette that I could do a lot with, so I got the James Charles Morphe palette. And I didn't know that much about beauty gurus, so there was definitely some more colorful palettes I could have chose with a little less problematic people that they represent, but I do really enjoy this palette. I most enjoy these last 2 rows since I think they add the most to my collection, and I think they prevent me from buying a lot of other palettes with shades that might be pretty but I might not use that often. I might see a blue palette and be like,
that's so pretty,
and then I'll be like, wait a minute, I have 6 blue eyeshadow shades already in my collection, and I can pull this out when I want to do something a little more colorful. It also has some great neutral shades as well, and I prefer this size over the larger one. So yeah, I enjoy this palette, and it can do a little bit more dramatic looks than some of my other palettes. Which, speaking of, the 3rd palette I have is my Dumb Reach neutral palette. I want to do something every day. I grabbed this palette. So I got this, the Huda Beauty Topaz Obsessions palette, from my sister as a Christmas gift. So basically I asked for a bronzy palette and she gave me this one. I had 2 that I gave as examples, and this was the first. So I'm so glad she gave me this exact one though, because I just love these two shimmers on the outsides. Stunning. And my basic look with this is using this matte in my crease, this in my outer corner, this on my lid, and maybe this on my inner corner, and that's it. Sometimes I use these two mattes at the top to blend out a look. I don't love the other shimmers. I find this one really flaky, and it works with like a glitter primer, but just like for everyday look, it's too much work. And this one, it looks almost the same as this one, but it's more work. So yeah, but that's that palette. That's my easy, no-brainer, just want to wake up, put on something that looks nice and go. This is the palette that I use for that. My fourth eyeshadow palette is actually my favorite and the one that I'm wearing today. And that is the Jackie Aina and ABH palette. So this palette I gave myself as a birthday gift this past March. I didn't realize how much I wanted this palette until it left Sephora, and I was sad. I was like, I really wanted this palette, wow. But then it went on sale on the ABH website, and so I picked it up, and I really enjoy it. I love like the more purple-ish side that I'm wearing today. Like that's one of my favorite like color combinations. And then I also really enjoy this more earth tone side, which is sort of represented in the look that I did for this video. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this palette. I am like afraid of breaking it since it's limited edition, and I think it's still sold, but I think like it doesn't have much longer that it will be. Yeah, but I really enjoy the looks. It's so nice having a palette that every shade works in my complexion. Ginger is my perfect shade to like blend out a look. This was the last look that I did for this video, and after like reaching back into this palette after spending days going through the others, I was like, I have missed this palette. In my video where I went from basically the braids back to my all natural do, every look came from this palette. And then finally we have the last palette in my collection, another ABH palette, which is the Soft Glam palette. This packaging stresses me out a lot because I'm always like super worried about getting it dirty. It's like a velvet texture. And I feel like this palette being released was sort of like a big moment in terms of what makeup trends were. I think it really established the soft glam sort of trend, the no makeup look. It really played into that in terms of eyeshadow. But I really enjoy like the pink tones, like between mulberry and sultry and rose pink, which I feel like that sort of like leaning look is what I usually do when I reach into this palette, which is funny because most of it is like browns and more neutral shades. But I also enjoy that it has this like deeper side. Even though you can do like a soft look, you can also deepen up a look and go like pretty glam. You can lean into the soft or the glam. It has that versatility, so I enjoy that. I wore this palette when I went and voted this past week, so yeah. But that is the last palette in my collection. I picked it up this past May. I hope you enjoy getting to see what my collection looks like. Here they all are together. I am not that opposed to adding palettes to my collection, but I also don't want there to be tons of overlap. Like all my palettes have like a brown matte shade, but I don't want to have, say, another like copper toned palette. Like I just want to add things that would expand my collections, add things that are more unique textures and formulas. And I also don't want to get to the place where I feel like I have so much eyeshadow that I can't possibly like use it all enough like to be like satisfied and happy. Yeah, that is my collection. I hope you enjoyed getting to see it and the looks that I had here. I hope you have a great one. Bye. And I forgot to mention, if you want to see a 3 looks 1 palette video or anything else with any of these, just let me know. I'm wearing a second look from the Nomad palette for a video I'm working on.